The October evening had turned cool by the time Daniel Parker pulled into the school parking lot. He was running 10 minutes late, which seemed to be his constant state these days. Between his job at the hardware store and raising his 10-year-old daughter Emma alone, punctuality had become more aspiration than achievement. He locked his truck and hurried toward the brick building, its windows glowing warmly against the darkening sky. Parent-teacher conferences. He'd marked it on 3 different calendars, set 2 phone reminders, and still almost forgotten until Emma had mentioned it that morning over cereal. The hallway smelled the way school hallways always did, floor wax and paper and something indefinably youthful. Daniel found his way to room 207, where a small line of parents waited outside. He took his place at the end, catching his breath, straightening the collar of the flannel shirt he'd worn to work. That's when he saw her. She was 3 people ahead of him in line, talking quietly with another parent. Her hair was shorter than he remembered, touched with silver now, pulled back in a simple ponytail. She wore a cardigan the color of autumn leaves and jeans, and when she laughed at something the other parents said, the sound carried him back 30 years in an instant. Sarah Mitchell. His heart did something complicated in his chest. They'd been 17 the last time they'd really talked. High school sweethearts who'd made grand plans, college together, maybe marriage someday, a whole life mapped out with the confidence of teenagers who thought they had all the time in the world. But life, as it does, had other ideas. Her family moved to Oregon the summer after graduation. They tried to stay in touch, letters at first, then phone calls that grew further apart, then just Christmas cards, then nothing. The way most young love stories end, he supposed. Not with drama, just with distance and time. Daniel considered leaving. He could reschedule, come back another night. But before he could make a decision, she turned and saw him. Her eyes widened slightly. A smile, surprised but genuine, spread across her face. Daniel? Daniel Parker? Hi, Sarah. His voice came out steadier than he felt. It's been a while. 30 years, she said, stepping out of line to close the distance between them. Give or take. Up close, he could see the fine lines around her eyes, the way time had softened her features. She was still beautiful, though beautiful felt like too simple a word. She looked real. Present. Like someone who had lived a whole life since he'd known her. You have a child here? She asked. My daughter Emma. 4th grade. You? My son Tyler. Also 4th grade. Mrs. Henderson's class. Emma's in Mrs. Henderson's class too. They stood there, letting that coincidence settle between them. I moved back about 8 months ago, Sarah said. After my divorce was finalized. My parents still live here, and I thought. I don't know. I wanted Tyler to grow up somewhere with roots. Does that make sense? Perfect sense. Daniel found himself relaxing into the conversation. I never left. Took over my dad's hardware store when he retired. Lost my wife 3 years ago. Cancer. Oh, Daniel. I'm so sorry. Thank you. It's been hard. But Emma and I were figuring it out. One day at a time. The line moved forward. They both stayed where they were. Next, called a voice from inside the classroom. Sarah glanced back. I think that's me. But Daniel, would you maybe want to get coffee sometime? Catch up properly? I'd like that very much. She pulled out her phone. Give me your number. They exchanged information like 2 teenagers, fumbling slightly, smiling at the awkwardness of it. Then she squeezed his arm gently and disappeared into the classroom. Daniel stood in the hallway, feeling something he hadn't felt in a very long time. Not quite hope, maybe possibility. Like a door he thought was closed had just opened a crack, letting in a sliver of light. They met that Saturday at the Bluebird Cafe, a place that had been serving coffee and pie since before either of them was born. Daniel arrived early, took a booth by the window, and tried not to watch the door too obviously. Sarah came in right on time, waving when she spotted him. She'd worn a green sweater and had left her hair down. She looked nervous too, which somehow made him feel better. "I haven't been here in forever," she said, sliding into the booth. "Do they still have that coconut cream pie?" "Every day." "Then I know what I'm having." They ordered coffee and pie for her, coffee and apple pie for him. The waitress, Dolores, had worked there for 40 years and didn't bother writing anything down. "So," Sarah said, wrapping her hands around her coffee cup. 30 years. Where do we even start? How about, what brought you back? Besides wanting roots for Tyler. She considered this. Honestly? I got tired of pretending. My marriage had been over for years, but we kept going through the motions. My ex was a good man, but we'd grown into completely different people. He wanted to climb mountains and travel the world. I wanted a garden and Sunday dinners and neighbors who knew my name. Neither of us was wrong. We just weren't right for each other anymore. Daniel nodded. Rebecca and I, we were happy. Really happy. She was my best friend. When she got sick, it happened so fast. One day we were planning Emma's 7th birthday party, and 6 months later. He paused. I'm sorry. That's heavy for coffee and pie. Don't apologize. That's life. The real stuff. She reached across the table and touched his hand briefly. How are you managing? Really? Some days are better than others. Emma's the strong one. She takes care of me more than I'd like to admit. Makes sure I remember to eat breakfast, reminds me when it's time to do laundry. 10 years old and already more organized than I'll ever be. Sarah smiled. Tyler's my worrier. Always has been. He needs to know the plan, the backup plan, and the backup to the backup plan. I think the divorce was harder on him than he lets on. He's been quieter. More withdrawn. That's part of why I wanted to come back here. I thought maybe a smaller town, being close to his grandparents, might help him feel more secure. Dolores brought their pie. They ate slowly, talking between bites. Tell me about the hardware store, Sarah said. I remember your dad's place. You used to work there on weekends. Still the same store, just different inventory. We've had to adapt, compete with the big box stores somehow. I've focused on service, on knowing our customers. People come in with a problem, and we help them solve it. Sometimes that means selling them something. Sometimes it means just giving advice. He shrugged. It's not going to make me rich, but it pays the bills. And I like it. Like being part of the community. That sounds lovely, actually. Meaningful. What about you? What do you do? I'm a librarian at the county library. Children's section. Storytime on Tuesdays, reading clubs on Thursdays. It's perfect for me. I get to be surrounded by books and kids, and the hours work with Tyler's school schedule. They talked for 2 hours. About their children, their parents, their work. About the changes in town, which businesses had closed, which were new. They carefully avoided talking about the past, about who they'd been to each other. That felt like something too delicate to touch yet. As they were leaving, Sarah said, Emma and Tyler should meet. If they're in the same class, they probably already know each other, but maybe a playdate or something? Emma would love that. She's always asking if she can have friends over, and I'm always too busy or too tired to arrange it. Next Saturday? My place? I'll text you the address. We'll be there. Standing in the parking lot, the November wind picking up around them, they lingered. This was really nice, Daniel. Yeah. It really was. They didn't hug, didn't make any grand gestures. Just got in their separate cars and drove away. But Daniel found himself smiling the whole way home. The playdate was chaos in the best possible way. Emma and Tyler had apparently been friendly at school but not particularly close. Within 20 minutes of being at Sarah's small rental house, they were best friends, building an elaborate fort in the living room using every pillow and blanket Sarah owned. Daniel and Sarah sat in the kitchen, pretending to supervise while mostly just talking.